NXT has become the best in the world all over again, but how did it happen? The brand is on absolute fire right now, with Shawn Michaels cooking up the best show on TV every week. It's been a very long time since NXT missed. I think the biggest thing that has contributed to the revival of NXT is that simply everybody wins. If you loved black and gold NXT and the roar of the crowd stomp your feet to the ground, you get that. If you liked what NXT 2.0 was doing in certain elements of that era, you get that. If you love women's wrestling, you get that. If you love characters and moments and great professional wrestling, you get that. But what about when NXT did miss? I mean, for it to become the best in the world all over again in 2023, we have to briefly study its downfall. By 2019, NXT had just hit what I would argue is the peak of the black and gold era. The culmination of the Johnny Gargano-Adam Cole saga, Kevin Owens, Tommaso Ciampa, and Finn Balor made triumphant returns, Shayna Baszler's reign came to an end, NXT's infamous crossover with main roster leading into Survivor Series happened that year, and of course NXT went live in the Wednesday Night Wars against AEW. NXT continued throughout the pandemic and still had a lot of great moments, especially those featuring Rhea, Bayley, Sasha, Io, and Charlotte, Keith Lee becoming a double champion, the resurgence of Balor, Adam Cole's last saga in NXT. It was still special. So again, what happened? Well, the old NXT, in the eyes of the people running the main roster shows, didn't do a good enough job of creating the kind of main event level stars they wanted. A lot of stars like Keith Lee, Aleister Black, Shayna Baszler, or Karrion Kross floundered on main roster, and a lot of that blame went to NXT. Now, you and I know that anyone who is even slightly introspective could see that it wasn't NXT's fault why these stars were so popular down there and were failing on Raw and SmackDown. The downfall was also anchored by NXT losing the ratings war to AEW. Then NXT was practically hemorrhaging its greatest alumni by 2021, most notably the Undisputed Era's original 3, and more jumping ship to the competition. So then the focus shifted from Triple H signing every prominent indie star with a pulse to Shawn Michaels signing every slim thick baddie and bringing him to the state of Florida. Oh, what's that? You don't believe me? Okay, well, my arse associate, my booty boss, my keister clapper, Deonte Inferno is on the scene right now in the state of Florida. Deonte? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Baddie Report. We're reporting live from outside the Performance Center right now. My GOAT, Shawn Michaels, has assembled the Phil Jackson Chicago Bulls of Baddies teams here because, my God, this roster does not lie. Adriana Rizzo, Ariana Grace, Cora Jade, Fallon Henley, Elektra Lopez, Jakara Jackson, Kalani Jordan, Kiana James, Valentina Feroz, Roxanne Perez, Lyra Valkyria, Sol Ruka, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley, Tiffany Stratton, Nikita Lyons, Lola Price, god damn, Jada Parker, Gigi Dolan. I mean, gotcha. All of this spawned NXT 2.0, and the new generation of NXT was born in September 2021. I know a lot of people fell off around this time because while NXT 2.0 had some questionable branding choices, AEW was in its hottest period ever. You know, that summer of 2021 where everything was right in the world for AEW. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. I'm sure they all lived happily ever.
Fucking tired, and I work with fucking children.
And for as much as people may want to trash this era of NXT, the 2.0 era, you could see that they were cooking something. Some of the standouts from this era were like Solo Sikoa, Mandy Rose and Toxic Attractions, Dominant Reign, The Rise of Bron Breakker, Tiffany Stratton, the Creed Brothers, Trick and Mello, Chase U, Tony D'Angelo, Santos Escobar, Cora and Roxanne, etc. And besides, for as ugly as that original color splatter, whatever the hell it was, for as much as that branding was pretty ugly at the beginning, it only took us about a year to get to where we are now. The white and gold NXT. NXT this year has been an absolute masterclass in everything that I personally would want in a professional wrestling show. And it's seen its ratings rise up 30% year over year, and Shawn Michaels credits it to the show's variety. And for any of you that know me, you know that I absolutely despise the whole ratings conversation. I really was sickened during the Wednesday Night Wars when there was always full threads of people being like, well, the 18 to 49 demo, oh well, 0.4. However, with that being said, it kind of suits my agenda right now for my NXT bias, so let's talk about ratings. I also can't help but feel like NXT has been on a hot streak ever since I sat on the side of the ring in Orlando, but whatever. It is true though, the variety of this show is so fun to watch. For every brilliant story beat in the Trick and Mello story, there's Tiffany Stratton showing why she's going to go down as a top 10 women's star of all time when it's all said and done. She only continues to get better in ring and in her character. She absolutely is going to main main event WrestleMania one day, and it is going to go crazy. There's also the Chase U scandal going on right now, which has been incredible television in my opinion. Somehow NXT has also revived the career of Baron Corbin, who has been brilliant in the midst of an Ilya Dragunov feud. Like, if you still have a sickened taste in your mouth from the Constable Corbin era, or God forbid King Corbin, or even that dog segment with Roman Reigns, please go check out some of Baron Corbin's NXT stuff that he's been doing recently, because he has been cooking.
Someone cooked here.
Ilya Dragunov, I mean, it goes without saying, he's fucking goated. I mean, I still want him to be the one who slays Gunther again, by the way. I think genuinely the one constant in this universe should be that Ilya Dragunov is always Gunther's kryptonite. His match with Nathan Frazier recently being one of my personal favorites this year. They've also integrated the leftover stars from NXT UK seamlessly as well, with stars like Noam Dar, Isla Dawn, Alba Fire, Piper Niven, Axiom and more also finding success after the fall of my beloved. Speaking of being a bruv, Nathan Frazier, what a guy. If you aren't familiar with this athlete called Nathan Frazier, get to know. That's all I can say. Wesley, my boy, who delivered an incredible heartfelt goodbye recently as he recovers from injury. We wish you the freaking best, my young goat. Dominic Mysterio. That's weird. That happens every time I say Dominic Mysterio. Okay, well, Rhea's submissive puppet has also been on the run of his life, bouncing between being hated across all of WWE, but delivering some of the best stories and matches with especially the NXT talent like Dragon Lee, Trick Williams, or Wes Lee, or anyone in that North American title scene. And the integration has been so brilliant, with main roster stars going down to NXT, NXT stars going to main roster. It's done wonders for the brand this year. We've seen the likes of Seth Rollins, the Judgment Day, Alpha Academy, John Cena, The Undertaker, Cody Rhodes, Asuka, Becky Lynch, Johnny Gargano, and more cross from main to NXT and back this year. And in a very selfless way, where they have actually helped bring along so many of these current stars in NXT, like Tiffany, Lyra, Braun, Mello, etc. I also real quick have to give a shout out to Dolph Ziggler, because he went back to NXT way back and helped out Braun Breaker back in 2.0. And NXT's women's division is also undoubtedly the best and most respected in the world by the people that handle it. While other women's divisions, in my opinion, suffer from inconsistent booking or lackluster characters, or they simply just don't get the time to shine, Shawn he gets it.
You're a cook. Oh, I am not a cook. All right? Chef.
The women get time, they get time to shine, their matches feel like they matter, they feel like they're going somewhere, and even the newest up-and-comers in the women's division like Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan already feel established and intertwined with what NXT is building. Because the breakout tournament that they did for the women effectively did what they were designed to do, which is to integrate the newest breakout stars in an efficient manner. Kalani Jordan is going to become real quick one of the most lovable Bayley/Roxanne Perez types in NXT. She is such a lovable star and such a talented superstar in the ring already, and she is only getting better. And Lola Vice has all the fire of a Latina from Miami that you could want in a character, and her current storyline where she has the contract to cash in for a women's title opportunity at any time is genuinely very interesting. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the people in the men's breakout tournament, but from the trailer, a lot of the stars in there seem very promising, and there's another reason that makes NXT exciting. You might not have ever heard of this random former football player or this incredibly in-shape track athlete, but by God will they become one of your favorites. Additionally, the women's superstars have very fun and distinctive characters on this show, and every premium live event they've done this year has featured satisfying ends to stories, great cliffhangers, amazing moments, matches, and in one word, vibes. I'm talking the vibes of Booker T being on commentary as he's ad-libbing for Trick Williams' theme song, as the crowd saying whoop that Trick, he's like, I like it. Oh yeah, man. Speaking of Trick Williams, you want to talk about the rise of a bona fide star. His performance to come back from being down in the Iron Survivor match at Deadline was downright iconic. For anyone that thought he was forever going to live in Melo's shadow, you're wrong. This man is going to be a huge deal. Goes without saying, but the aforementioned Carmelo Hayes is going to be a big deal. I mean, he's literally him. There is also Dijak, formerly known as Dominik Dijakovic, and Now I know, you could go ahead and argue that someone like Joe Gacy or Lexus King have no vibes at all, they do not pass the vibe check, to which I would say, let him cook. As you may realize, I love NXT. I always have and I always will. And right now, there is something for everyone across this brand, and the show has never been hotter.